the longest time there was this narrative around, women empowerment being, oh, you have to be that CEO, or you have to get the top job, and then you're a strong independent woman. But a homemaker is equally as strong, she's equally as independent, and that's what women empowerment is, right? It's the freedom to make the choice that you want to make for yourself, and whether that's being a homemaker, whether that's being a CEO, whether that's being whatever you want to be, that is really what the definition of a superwoman is. And I don't think we should look down upon choices that women make. A lot of times I see, discussions around, oh, a homemaker is not considered a strong, independent woman. When I don't think that's the case. I think she's actually far stronger and far more independent than anyone out there, because she is seeing and facing a very different life at home, and one that we don't appreciate enough. She's responsible for raising a whole generation of people who are going to change the world someday. So that is equally as pressurizing as being a CEO, or leading a company of thousands of people. So
I mean, are you happy with the kind of response you're getting for your show since you're working with
yeah, I mean,
family?
it's been really overwhelming. So much love for season 2. I think people are happy that we switched to video. That was something we heard a lot in season 1, that they wanted to see us. So I think that that's really been a game changer for season 2, that we were on video this time. But it's been great. Very, very, very grateful for all the love and support that we've gotten for the show. And I'm really sad that the season is almost over. We have 2 more episodes left, so that's a little sad. But it's been a great experience.
Right. It's like, 3 generations of women. I thought that intergenerational point and perspective, right? That came through. Is that why would you choose to work with your family? Because I remember, Navya, in J school, we were told not to work with family ever. Don't write about your family.
Yeah.
Nothing good is going to come of it, but you're working with them. Is that a good idea to work with family?
Yeah, I mean, so the idea kind of came about during the lockdown. I think we got a lot of time with each other, and we all live together. So these are conversations that we do have on a daily basis. And my mom, Nani, and I kind of spend time sitting on the sofa and talking about life and different topics. And the idea just kind of popped up that why not do this as a podcast? Why not have some of these conversations in a public forum? More so that you could see the 3 different opinions, right, from 3 different generations, which is very interesting, because a lot of the times they're not the same. A lot of the times there are disagreements, there are agreements also, but there are different thoughts and different points of view. And I think that that's always a great thing to put out there in the public forum. And I think also the conversations and the themes and the topics that we kind of curated for each episode are also, I think, very relevant to today's youth and just today's context in general. So we felt that it was nice that we could have some of these conversations and add our thoughts to the ever-going conversations around these topics as well.
Right. And Navya, the best part is I love listening to Shweta Bachchan the most, your mom, who
Yeah.
doles out like the most sarcastic life lessons with
Yeah.
a she's got the most sardonic sense of
She's
humor.
a big favorite. I think she has her own fan base after this podcast, because people love hearing what she has to say, and she's always got something very insightful and fun. So I think she's kind of gathered her own fan base
Right.
through this podcast as well.
Right. When I look at the series as well, I do see a portrait of privilege. But what is different about it is that you guys are also keenly aware of it.
Yeah.
And you don't take it lightly. I could be wrong, but I just feel that you guys know that you come from a sense of privilege, and therefore you use your voice. Did you guys have a conversation about that? Maybe at some point people would look at it as a vanity project.
Yeah. No, I think that we've always been extremely aware of our privilege. It's something I have always talked about since the beginning. I think it's something that I've recognized at each step in my professional life as well, that the fact that I am where I am today is largely due to privilege and the opportunities that I got at a very young age. I think all 3 of us are very much aware of that, very conscious of that, and also feel a very large sense of responsibility with the privilege that we have. Having said that, I think also some of the conversations we have, which we also have mentioned in the podcast, are maybe just relevant to us because we have lived a very different life to maybe majority of people listening to um, the podcast. But I think the overall themes, whether we've talked about women, whether we've talked about health, whether we've talked about financial independence, masculinity, the larger themes from season 2, I think that in general, our opinions might align with what people believe as well. So I think that that's really the beauty of it. That no matter where you come from, I think everyone stands for the right thing. Everyone believes in the right thing. And especially for us, the larger theme of women empowerment is something that I think all three of us strongly believe in. So I think irrespective of the background, irrespective of the privilege, I think it's something that we all agree on as a society. And I think that that was really what we wanted to come out of the show, is that of course we have our own personal experiences that we share, but there is a larger unified voice that also comes out of the podcast for certain topics and themes.
No, that's so good. And Navya, there's always this pressure to be performatively woke these days, right? You need to sound a certain narrative or spin a certain narrative, say the right thing. Are you guys under pressure to sound woke?
No, I think, see, for me, I work in the development sector. I've been working in the nonprofit sector for the last 3.5, 4 years. So for me, the work that I do is my life. So the conversations that I have, whether it's at home, whether it's with you, or whether it's at a public platform, are all the same, because this is what I live and breathe every day. So for me, it's not something that I have to think about. It's something that comes very naturally to me with the kind of profession that I chose. I think similar for my nani, who's had so much experience working in an industry where she was started off at the age of 16, and she's been an actress, and she's seen the industry change from when she started out in the 60s, 70s to now. So she has her own opinions, right, about women and the entire context of where we are today. And I think my mom, of course, being an author and an entrepreneur herself, but also a homemaker, I think she has her own opinions about what and how women are talked about in today's context. So I think it's not something that we actively tried to do, but I think just inherently, because of the professions we chose or because of where we are personally in our lives, I think it's something that comes very naturally. So, I mean, I'm glad that it kind of fits into the context and conversation of today, which is I wouldn't use the word woke. I would say more conscious. I think people are a lot more conscious today about certain things. And we are, as three women from the same family, also very conscious of the context of what's happening in the world today, and are glad that we were able to address some of those issues through
Right.
our podcast.
Lovely. And have you thought of having the male, not just male members from your family, but having a male voice, or was it conscious to have it just as a women's only platform? Perhaps it's very rare where women get to bat, right? We're
Yeah.
still talking about it. I think most of the time, even when it comes to wage parity, we are a long way off. So, do you think this is just for women? This is like for women, by women? Is
I
that
mean,
your
season
credo?
one, of course, was the three of us. Season two, we do have an episode where my brother Agastya joined in for an episode, and the conversation was around masculinity. So this season, we also did try to include themes around masculinity. We also don't want to exclude men from the conversation around women. I very strongly believe that women empowerment is not something we can fully achieve without the support of the men in our lives. They play very, very important roles in our lives, whether that's as brothers, colleagues, partners, or even friends. So I think it's very important to include men in conversations that we have around women. So we definitely did try to do that this season as well with my brother, and he did a great job. He stole the show. I think that he was
And
really
but he was a guest star. I mean, he's not like
yeah.
it's like he's not the bride or the groom, right? He's a bridesmaid in that episode. Come
Yeah,
on,
so he
he's just
was,
there for a
I think
cameo.
a lot of love that came his way for that conversation. And I'm glad that, we were slowly able to integrate some themes around men as well in our show. That's something that we want to continue doing. And
Right.
hopefully if we have a season three, I would love to have more male guests and, have their point of view on some of the issues relating to women.
Navya, what I love about you, I feel you're on your own clock. I know that women are often told we have the biological clock ticking, we
Yeah.
also have the career clock ticking, but you seem to
Yeah.
have you're marching to your own like time clock. I feel you're not in a hurry to be heard. You're not. I just feel that you're very comfortable in your own skin, and that's not easy, right? Did it always come easy to you, or do you wake up thinking, okay, what am I doing? Do you have existentialist angst at any point?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone does at some point. I think when you wake up and you kind of see what you have done in your life, you always feel in comparison that there's so much more to do, right? There's so much more that has to be achieved. And especially when, you still see that, we haven't achieved gender equality completely, or there are certain situations in which, women aren't given opportunities that they deserve. So I think when you see that around you, you feel that there is so much that has to be done and there's not enough time to complete that or to do it. So that's definitely where the existentialism kicks in, that will I be able to achieve this in my lifetime? Will I be able to kind of make an impact, or, leave society a better place than I found it? So I think when I start thinking about those things, it's definitely you get a sense of feeling of that you've not done enough. But I also keep reminding myself that, whether it's achievement or whether it's success, and especially in the field of work that I am in, impact is not always necessarily largely in numbers. It's also
Yes.
in the quality of the impact and the depth of the impact. So even if I can impact, one person's life, and help them and change their life, that to me is success. That to me is an achievement. And it doesn't have to be in the scale of thousands. I mean, that's the dream, to be able to impact people at that level. But
Right.
in our small way, in our daily lives, if we can start by even impacting one life, I think that's a good place to be.
Right. Do you have women coming up to you and saying, perhaps, somewhere I saw your podcast, I heard it, and I thought you don't have to have it all, because women
Yeah.
want to have it all, right? There's always that pressure to have it all. And we
Yeah.
can't. I mean, it's a fact. You can't be a superwoman. I feel being a superwoman is kind of idealized. I think
No,
that's changed.
I also think it adds a sense of pressure, right? That, and I think when we talk about, for the longest time, there was this narrative around, women empowerment being, oh, you have to be that CEO, or you have to get the top job, and then you're a strong, independent woman. But a homemaker is equally as strong. She's equally as independent, and that's what women empowerment is, right? It's the freedom to make the choice that you want to make for yourself, and whether that's being a homemaker, whether that's being a CEO, whether that's being whatever you want to be, that is really what the definition of a superwoman is. And I don't think we should look down upon choices that women make. A lot of times I see, discussions around, oh, a homemaker is not considered a strong, independent woman, when I don't think that's the case. I think she's actually far stronger and far more independent than anyone out there, because she is seeing and facing a very different life at home, and one that we don't appreciate enough. She's responsible for raising a whole generation of people who are going to change the world someday. So that is equally as pressurizing as being a CEO, or leading a company of thousands of people. So I think that to me is what I believe in. I think that the whole concept of women empowerment really lies around respecting and giving women the freedom to make the choices that they want to make.
No, I love that thought as well. And like you said, a homemaker has no sick days off. I
Yeah,
mean, it's the most thankless
exactly.
job ever. She doesn't get a bonus, really. I mean, at
It's
least
really the
bonus.
toughest job, and often a very underappreciated job. And I kind of probably only came to realize that now, when I'm in my late 20s, and I kind of look at my mom, and I feel so grateful for a lot of the sacrifices that she made, in her younger life, to kind of help me get to where I am, or to put that time and put that energy into raising me and my brother. And I think to all the moms out there, I think it's a very tough job. And they sacrifice more than we think that they do for our happiness and for our success. So I think that's something that we should give them credit for.
I do. And I think I mean, generally, when I look at all three of you women talking, it just seems like a very democratic household. I mean, you may
Yeah,
have fights and all of that. I mean,
yeah,
that goes, I mean, you're as dysfunctional as any other family next
of
door.
course, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think, is that why you want to pay it forward? Like, when did the seed of that philanthropy, that I want to pay it forward, I want to use my clout, my celebrity for greater good, come about?
I mean, I definitely don't think I'm a celebrity. I think I was just fortunate to, be where I am and to be in the family that I am. And I think that there might be a reason why, because of them, I have the platform that I have, or people kind of watch what I do. And I want to use that platform for the right thing. I want to use it to talk about things that are important, and to kind of use the resources and the opportunities that I have been given and maximize those, so that I could share them with others, or I could bring them to others. And not in the form of sympathy, or not in the form of pity, but in the form of that there are women out there who deserve the same opportunities that I have, and how can I, share the ones that I have been given, or how can I maximize that for the women around me? And I think that's really where the seed of wanting to join the development sector really came from. And I think that just in general, whether you come from privilege, whether you don't come from privilege, I think as a citizen of this country and just as human beings, we have a moral responsibility to just leave society a better place than we found it. So I think I'm also just playing my part in doing that.
You're doing such an amazing job. I mean, you're
Thank
very
you.
young. I know you're in your 20s, you haven't got it
Yeah,
all figured out. But at the same time, you just seem like, I mean, you seem to wear your vulnerabilities on your sleeve, which I
yeah.
think many people relate to it. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Is there anything you want to add? I'm not asking you the usual question of why not asking, because I'm like, we're over it.
Yeah,
Everybody's
I
over
keep
it.
saying it's never even something that I considered. So I don't even know how to answer that question anymore because it was never something that even crossed my mind.
No, but you're entertaining us.
Yes.
And also paying it forward. It's a very rare combination. So thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
doing that. If there's anything you want to add, I'll be happy to. Anything you would like to
No, I mean, thank you so much for speaking to me, and I hope that you enjoy watching the rest of the season.
do? I do. I really love it. I think all you three women are like a hoot.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
like a fly on the wall approach, and I think the editing of the show is brilliant. I like
Thank
how
you.
y'all don't edit out your mistakes, which I think takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And
Thank
we
you so
haven't
much.
ended.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you don't sanitize it. Thank you for not sanitizing it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really sweet of you.